Hello and welcome to Week 13 of Electric Football's 2014 season, the Thanksgiving episode. Stu Pace, Steve Brown, how's it going?
Us. How are you?
Hey, it's going to get crappy around here weather-wise, so those who are traveling in the Northeast, we're wishing you safe travels.
Yappa. Let's talk football. Bears, Lions on Thanksgiving. And Dominic Raiola acted a little bit like General Zod this week after going after somebody's knee on a cheap shot on the last play of the game. And give me a sip of that coffee.
Oh, it's black.
Going after one of the Pats linemen and then explaining like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I came to crush Superman. That was my plan. And evidently the NFL's just like, okay, you wanted to hurt somebody?
Let's not fine him.
No. Why? We'll get guys for making a tackle where their heads hit, but a guy that lunges at somebody's knees and then at the end of the game that's over and then goes, yeah, I did it. They were pissing me off.
Yeah, they scored a touchdown.
An undisciplined lion? Who's ever heard
I've
of
never heard of it in my
thing?
life.
Anyway, I still think they're going to beat the Bears this week.
Yeah.
Villainy justified or not, give me the Lions to bounce back and beat the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears woke up in the second half of last week's game, against the Pirates, and then they look. You got to look to the first meeting with the Cowardlies who didn't arrive in New England in time to play. So I don't trust Cutler or Stafford here. I'm just taking the home team. I like the Lions on Thanksgiving. I always like taking them on Thanksgiving, so I'm taking them on Thanksgiving.
All right, Eagles at the Cowboys. And Connor Barwin is turning into the juggernaut of pass rushers right now. He's second in the league, or tied for second in the league in sacks, just behind Justin Houston. And it is my fervent hope that he uses the power of the Crimson Gem of Sidorak to rip the head off of Tony Romo. Go Eagles fly.
So I think someone hit the Marvel Comics for breakfast here. So this is for first place on Thanksgiving here. Shady finally got going, and that was nice for my fantasy team as I plummet to the depths of obscurity. But it was against Tennessee.
Much like this show, plummeting to the depths of obscurity.
Dallas had no answer for Odell Beckham, who managed to pull in one of the best catches I've seen in a long time. Everyone's calling it the greatest catch. It's not the greatest catch.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah. Cowboys let up 330-plus yards of passing against Eli, but Sanchez doesn't worry as much in that respect. This will be like a playoff game coupled with a holiday game. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Okay. That will ruin my Thanksgiving, by the way. All I have to give thanks for right now is the Cowboys losing. So, Seahawks at 49ers. And great game. Russell Wilson reminds me of the Black Panther in that he's not he's not the biggest superhero. He's not the fastest superhero. He's not the smartest superhero, but he's got all of those attributes, and he turns it into that well-roundedness into some heroic feats. I also am a huge Anquan Boldin fan. I mean, he reminds me of the Punisher, just dishing out violence from an unexpected position. There are some right now. Well, okay. We'll get into that later. But with an improving D, with some home field advantage, the 49ers pass rush has gotten better. Mm-hmm. Their linebackers have worked out even with injuries and suspensions. I like the 49ers at home to win this one.
All right. Well, this is not for first place in this case because the Cardinals are still, I think, 2 games ahead of these guys. But it will probably determine who catches the Cardinals here. The Rainbirds are starting to play like last year's team finally. The Cards couldn't run or pass against Seattle while the Niners struggled against Washington. I'm taking the Birds even though they usually stink on the road here. It's just too close to call Wilson and Kaepernick. I'm just going to go with Wilson on this game. I'm taking the away team here.
Okay. Washington at the Colts. And what happens to the Flash if he loses his super speed?
Gets burnt out.
He's just a regular guy in a skin-tight red leotard with a little lightning bolt on him.
Or what we call Steve on Wednesdays.
And that appears to be, that is my Wednesday attire. But that appears to be what has happened to RG3. He seems to have lost some of that speed with the injuries and the hits that he's taken. He's battling with a coach again, not unusual for him. And he's doing it wearing an Elmer Fudd hat in that interview. Colts season, Rabbit season, Colts season, Gruden season, fire him.
Let's try that again.
So in comes the anti-flash, an interesting quarterback matchup with the whole draft of RG3 and Andrew Luck.
And it's the first time they're meeting.
Is that true?
Yes, it is.
I did not. I
had to
realized
look
that
it
they were
up.
meeting, but thank you for doing the research that
While you're reading comic books, I'm actually doing work.
which is also research. The reverse flash, Professor Zoom, Andrew Luck comes in. He'll be waving his fleener at RG3 in a dismissive manner. I like the Colts to win this one pretty easily.
Well, Luck was human against the Jaguars, but that's all he really needed to be. Seems like he kind of just took the day off. He didn't have to press too hard to win here. So here's the number 1 and the number 2 draft picks meeting for the first time. RG has been a patient more than he's been a quarterback in his career, and Luck has been the better choice in the draft. I mean, obviously, the Colts sucked for Luck for a reason here. I don't think Washington stands much of a chance here unless Al Morris runs for 400 yards and keeps Luck off of the field. I don't see that happening. I think this will be a runaway for the Colts.
There's a lot of things working against me right now. I've got a cold. I was up till 3 a.m. with insomnia. And the animals at the Cosmo Club drank 2 bottles of Grey Goose, which is my set. I'm now using gin bottles, and they're shorter. So excuse me while I look down. But the Titans at the Texans is now a Mettenberg versus Fitzpatrick battle, a battle of the Robins, if you will. We're talking Jason Todd versus Dick Grayson.
Okay.
My personal favorite Robin would be Damian Wayne, but that would have to be a starting quarterback. So we've got 2 bad backup quarterbacks. Mallett is out now with a ripped pec. I would have to grow a pec before I could rip it.
Yeah, me too.
But even with Mallett out, I think the Texans are a better, more well-rounded team overall. I think they have better playmakers on both sides of the ball. And I like them to beat the Teen Titans in this one.
The Teen Titans. Mallett seems to be done for the season. I saw something today that he's still being evaluated, but I read yesterday that he was out for the season.
Yeah, ripped pec.
Yeah, so go with that. So it is Fitzpatrick. And what a matchup. Delaney Walker caught 155 yards of passes while riding the pine on my fantasy team. The Titans may have found something in Mettenberger, so I'm going to go against better judgment here. I'm taking the Titans in an upset.
All right. Browns at the Bills, and we're assuming it will be at the Bills if there's anything left of Buffalo after the snowstorms and floods. And
they're getting more lake effect snow tomorrow, supposedly. So
plagues of locusts.
Good luck to you, Buffalo.
It's raining toads there right now, I believe. But Buffalo does have one thing. They have the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants that is their defensive line. Their defensive line gets after the quarterback.
Any angle.
They're rude. I mean, they interrupted Rex Ryan and Michael Vick while they were planning the retirement parties. Just they're a nasty bunch of evil mutants. They've got weird skills, and they get after them. Hoyer is doing his best to lose the position and then come back with crazy wins against teams that don't know how to manage clocks, for one thing. But to have miracle comebacks, you have to have bad starts. And I think if the Browns get off to a bad start against the Bills, that defensive line just tees off, and eats Hoyer alive. And, oh, my God, that Johnny Football Snickers commercial is bad.
Oh, I don't watch commercials.
Just bad.
Sorry.
So anyway, I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. The Bills put a beat down on the Jets last night. Cleveland can't come from behind against Buffalo. They're going to tee off pretty nicely on Hoyer. I think the Bills got some momentum last night. Of course, they were playing with a lot of pride and energy because they were away from home. But we got on snowmobiles and we went to Detroit. Who gets on a snowmobile and goes to Detroit? No one. Bills in a romp.
I did like the Scott Chandler I'm still digging snow touchdown dance.
Yeah, call me when you win something, Buffalo.
All right, the Chargers at the Ravens, and the Blob is an unmovable force. And Haloti Nagata, whose name I cannot
Holy
say,
Nagata,
is also an unmovable force. So why is Sean Payton on 4th and 1 early in the game running Ingram directly into the Blob?
Honest to God.
You're not moving that guy. And Sean Payton is a great play caller, but that was a bad play call.
Last night's play calls were terrible.
Steve Smith, feisty little Wolverine, isn't he? He gets up there, rips off people's helmets, gets in fights, and the other guy gets the penalty, which I still haven't figured out.
Interesting stat. I went to bed before the game ended, but they mentioned that Smith averages over 15 yards a catch against the Saints in his career, and I didn't look to see if that actually came true last night, but God, everything he caught looked to be 25 yards downfield. So,
and if you were wondering, yes, I still hate Ray Lewis, and I still hate that stupid little hat. And he's a horrible announcer, and I think the E in ESPN stands for evil, for giving him both commercials and a national stage. And oh my goodness, he picked the Ravens.
Yeah.
There's a surprise. What in-depth analysis? I think they need to go out there and punch them in the face. Hey, thanks for that, Ray.
Oops.
You're not a hypocrite. Anyway, so going back to this game, Chargers at Ravens. I think the Ravens are a more complete team. I think the Ravens have been steadier throughout the season. I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, the Poes looked pretty good last night. In
The Poes, nice, literary.
Yeah, hey, what? I do some homework. The Bolts barely squeezed by those pesky Rams Sunday, and now they travel to the East Coast where they don't fare very well. Canty, Nada, Suggs, and the rest should be able to limit Rivers on my fantasy team. And the declining Chargers I say declining because Rivers is playing poorly the last 3 to 4 weeks. He had a great first 7 or 8 games. It's been awful from then on. The Ravens shut down a pretty bad Saints team and are looking really good on offense. Those runners on Baltimore, they just don't stop. They're the hardest hitting, nastiest runners I've seen in a long time. They could be very scary in the playoffs, the Ravens. I'm taking them by a lot here.
Hard-hitting running back, hard-hitting wide receiver, tough, and the blob in the middle on defense. Tough team.
Flacco looked so comfortable last night, and that's dangerous.
Giants at Jags, and Odell Beckham Jr. did go all Spider-Man on us with the three-finger grab. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of wide receivers have to make amazing catches on Eli Manning throws. You've got
It's true.
David Tyree, you've got Odell Beckham, the Manningham catch. They're all pulling his fat out of the fire, it seems like. Giants are, I believe it's fourth in turnovers. This is fourth worst in turnovers
I think
this
it'd
season.
be more after the way Manning's been playing.
But you know who has more? The Jags. So I do give the Giants a win here and a nice little present, a little Thanksgiving, a belated Thanksgiving present to Tom Coughlin. Beleaguered Tom Coughlin, I believe his first name is now.
Beleaguered?
I believe beleaguered is
Coughlin.
his first name.
Look, there's no stopping Odell Beckham here, but the Jags D may bottle up Eli. They got a pretty decent pass rush and a halfway decent defense here. The Giants are favored here, but it's based more on perception. They haven't really done anything to make them the better team here. Both seasons are over for these teams, and I'm just going to pull for the little Jaguars to have an upset here.
All right. Bengals at Bucks, and flame on. Andy Dalton is either red hot or he's just a regular Johnny Storm. Recently he has been hot, and the Bucks, preseason favorite of one prognosticator with 2 thumbs, this guy, have really, excuse me here, turn it off if the kids are listening, but they shit the bed this year, and Lovey's probably done. The only thing that might save them in this game, they have a puncher's chance with Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson, big wide receivers, great red zone wide receivers. If they can get down close and just throw jump balls, they've got a chance, but I don't think that's going to happen. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, these teams don't meet often, but when they do, the Bucks win. I hate Cincinnati and everything they stand for after beating the Saints, so don't listen to me on this one. Bucks, Bucks, Bucks.
Raiders at Rams, and in his last 2 games, Latavius Boy Wonder Murray has 8 carries for 155 yards and 2 TDs. I think I'd give him a 5th and 6th carry in the next game.
Yeah, but he was out the second half of the game, for goodness
I
sakes.
know. Good point.
Yeah.
The amazing thing here is that the Raiders were able to beat the Chiefs right after I called for an 0-16 season from them and started explaining to everybody why the Chiefs were a Super Bowl caliber team.
You're watching electric football.
But the Rams managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory when Journeyman Hill, which I like, it sounds like the directions you'd get down south in the Smoky Mountains.
Journeyman Hill sounds like someone in like the Pilgrim times. Well, we must go see Journeyman Hill.
I like
That's my Thanksgiving reference.
You follow the creek down to Journeyman Hill. There you'll find the Rams' buried hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
Arr. Spit some tobacco and go. Anyway, what game are we talking about here?
Raiders and
Rams. Who cares? I think the Rams D is much tougher than the Raiders D. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I think the Rams are playing some of the best football right now and should easily beat the Raiders, who got their win against the Chiefs. It was an unbelievable game.
That's the one they get?
Yeah, I think that's the one. Fisher's pulling every trick out of the book in every game to win a game, and I like that about him. You know what? He fake punted again, and you would think teams would be ready for that. They're probably thinking, he did it already, he's not going to do it again. Boom, fake punt. Rams.
Hell, you might want to put the punter in at QB for the whole thing.
Honest to God.
He seems to have some pretty good
I
accuracy.
think he's 100% passing.
Saints at Steelers. And that little Drew Brees is the Bucky Barnes of football players. He's trying really hard, and he's just a good kid. But they've really run out of steam.
I don't know who Bucky Barnes is.
He was Captain America's Robin.
Okay.
He was the Robin to Captain America. Anyway, Ben Roethlisberger stands in there like the Thing, just getting hit, and then he yells, "It's clobbering time," and chucks a deep ball to Antonio Brown, and they win. The Saints, having another loss at home, appear ready to pack it in. They seem like a team with dysfunction on the sideline. Play calling was bad. Rob Ryan's defense has been horrific in fourth quarters. So I don't see a way that the Steelers don't manage to pull this one off at home. Give me big thing, Ben Roethlisberger. That was hard to say. I'm taking the Steelers.
Yeah, Rob Ryan looks like Thor after he's been, drinking and eating for 20 years without exercising. Can you friggin' believe that they're still in first place, though? They're tied for first place, the Saints, at 4-7. Holy crap, and my set just broke, so I don't know if I can read this. There's only 8 teams with worse records than the Saints, and 3 of them are in their friggin' division. The Steelers need a win to keep in the playoff hunt, especially with the Ravens' win last night. They're slight favorites here, but I hope to holy hell the Saints, I hope the Saints win, but my pick is the Steel City.
Panthers at my Vikings. And Cam used to have that Superman thing going, rip it open, I'm the man.
Mm-hmm.
But injuries appear to have been his kryptonite this season. In their last 6 games, they have a tie and 5 losses. They're coming off a bye, which may help them heal up a bit. They do get Mike Tolbert back, who's just, a little chunk. And the Vikings did have trouble stopping a similar runner in Lacey Underalls.
Yes, Lacey Underalls.
Last week. But Teddy Bridgewater is looking good. He's showing improvement. He's making good decisions. And I like Minnesota to further ruin our draft position by getting a meaningless win here.
Well, they tried valiantly to beat the Packers last week.
Yeah.
And they were only 3 points shy of it. So they're fighting. The Panthers, fully rested, bring their dysfunctional team to Minnesota. I don't like either team more than the other one. So it's just a hometown pick for the Nords.
All right. Cards at the Falcons. And riddle me this, Stu. How do the Falcons lose games like the Detroit game in London and like last week?
How, Steve?
Poor clock management. What is Mike Smith doing?
He's
fired. They're going to use their timeout. Let me use our timeout first to save them the trouble.
He's got Philbinitis.
Here's the thing you don't want a team that's behind late in the game to have. More timeouts. You sad clown, Mike Smith. Anyway.
They're not in the bus bouncing with the owner anymore, are they?
No, that's done. The Cards lost a tough one to Seattle. Drew Stanton couldn't have hit guys in the hands more often and watch them drop it. Awful lot. Great catches by guys like Beckham. Some bad plays by the Cardinal wide receivers. But I don't see a way that they don't bounce back and win this game in a bird fight of less than epic proportions.
Waiting. It's not really a bird fight here. Atlanta is woefully inept, and the Cardinals will be seething after that humiliation by the Starbucks team. The Cards D should simply take care of Matty, who needs to drop the ice part because the only thing that ice is his talent is frozen to his high school years, it seems. I'm taking the flightless Boyds here. I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right. Pats at Packers, and Tom Brady is Superman, and that makes Gisele Bundchen a kind of hot Lois Lane. It seems like the NFL schedule makers said, okay, what we want every week is Superman versus, one of his arch nemesises. the Gorilla Grods of the world, the Lex Luthors of the world. So they line him up in the last 4 weeks. It's against Peyton Manning, Luck, Stafford, and now he goes against Rodgers, who reminds me of Bullseye because when he throws something, he does not miss. He is deadly accurate. I actually think, and comment section, bring them on, I actually think Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. Ever. There are a few guys out there that might be contenders for that. Go ahead, tell me who they are. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback I've ever seen. He might be the best quarterback in football right now, but the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. And I like the Packers and that accuracy at home in this game. It's hard to go against them, on the frozen tundra. I know New England is playing great, and I do like what Bill Belichick did with Gray, where Gray had a great game. He's on the front of Sports Illustrated. He shows up late. Treat him like anybody else.
Yep, never heard of you.
You're sitting. Welcome back, LeGarrette.
Yep.
So Belichick might be the Lex Luthor. He might be able to come up with a game plan that beats Aaron Rodgers, but I don't see it. I like the Pack.
Well, thanks to the old gods that this is in Wisconsin, but all it means is the Pats will win by a few less points here, not a ton. I just think the Pats are playing the best football in the league. The Packers gave up 21 to Teddy and the Vikings here, and I just think the Revolutionaries are sizzling, and I think they make the Packers Gronk me. There's nothing stopping them. Bill Belichick puts to bed the game on Sunday night and puts together a plan to beat the next team on the next Sunday. He's uncanny with changing his team. You never see the same guy twice having a great week back-to-back, except Brady. But no one on that offense is stellar week after week after week. It's Jonas Gray, it's LeGarrette Blount, it's Gronk this week, next week it's Edelman. I don't know what Belichick does, what he drinks. It's got to be some kind of magical thing. And I swear to God, when he retires, he's just going to melt on the podium. Satan's coming for that man. He made a deal with the devil.
Melt on the podium.
He's just going to...
Broncos at Chief. And first and foremost, we joke around here. We enjoy ourselves. We enjoy football. But our best wishes go out to Eric Berry. They evidently found a mass in his chest that they're worried might be lymphoma. So, having family members currently dealing with cancer issues, it hits home. Good luck to Eric Berry.
Best wishes from EF.
Now on to the game. Peyton Manning is like Batman. He's not a superhero, but he beats you with his brains, his preparation, and his weapons. And that is what he did to a certain Dolphin team. And
I picked the Broncos, I believe.
You did pick them, but whose jersey and whose tattoo?
Who cares? We suck.
Anyway, Alex Smith is more like a Clark Kent. He kind of bumbles along, and you don't realize how talented he is. Other than the Raiders game, the Chiefs are putting together. He's exactly what you expect him to be. They're putting together a solid season. He's got them in contention, but going up against a well-prepared Batman and not turning into Superman isn't a way to win this thing. I like Peyton and especially his weapons. Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker even showed up. That little Wes Welker showed up. Good for him.
They do.
I like them, the Broncos, to win this game fairly easily.
It's for the lead and basically for the division. I think whoever wins this game takes it the rest of the way. The Googlies lost in Denver early in the season while they were struggling to find themselves, and they were without Jamal Charles at that point. But all Manning's does is win through, and I just don't see a different outcome unless Alex Smith throws more than 0 touchdowns like in the first meeting. I'm taking the ponies.
All right, Dolphins at Jets. And Rex Ryan came into New York as a crazy joker, but right now he's going to need some time in Arkham Asylum because things have just gone horribly wrong for him this season. Watching, what's his name, Jaquan Jarrett get just picked up and driven back into their punter for the punt block sort of encapsulated this season. You go, well, the Jets, at least they're going to get rid of the ball. And nope, touchdown Bills. And then it's pick, touchdown Bills. And then it's Vic trying to make a tackle, and he's out. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. It's Tuesday morning, actually. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Jets. I don't think it matters. Stu can speak to this better than I can, but from what I've seen of him, it looks like Ryan Tannehill has really improved throughout the season.
You can't throw the ball more than 15 yards. Anyway, look, everything in my heart says Miami is a much better team, especially on defense. On offense, on special teams, on a bus, on a plane, in a boat, on a train, Dr. Stews here thinks that all the stews in Stewville will watch the New York Green Grinches steal another Christmas from Stewville. It really can't happen. But in the world of NFL football, the Jets seem to cause me grief year in and year out, so why expect anything else? Miami is going to break those Grinches' hearts and win one in the Meadowlands.
And then we will feast on roast beast.
It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Stu's mad because his shoes are 2 sizes too small.
That's right, and my heart's like clogged.
Hey, shout out to Nova Scotia Paul. Thank you for the nice comment. We appreciate it.
And all the viewers and all your comments, keep them coming. Our crack research staff of Dolphin316. And I'd like to throw a special shout out to the guys at Fin Nation. It's been a fun season so far, bitching and moaning about the Dolphins. If you're a Dolphin fan, go to finnation.com. We have a lot of fun there.
Electric Football says, goodbye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Here comes my hand.
Ah.